Hey Shane, what are you doing?
I'm just playing with Mike.
Well, I was wondering, have you heard about Golden Sun?
Nope.
Well, do you want to learn about it?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Golden Sun is a Japanese RPG released shortly after the Game Boy Advance launched. The game was developed by Camelot, who most people might know as the company responsible for Mario's golf and tennis outings. They do have some roots in making shining games for Sega, so in some ways this is a return to form for them. Alright, I gotta set the stage, so stick with me here for a bit. Golden Sun takes place in the world of Wayward, where people can harness psychic energy, or Synergy. People who are just super excellent at using Synergy are called Adepts. Adepts are split into groups depending on which of the 4 elements they have an affinity toward. Mercury Adepts are wizards of water. Mars Adepts have the power of fire. Jupiter Adepts are one with the wind. And Venus Adepts control dirt. Is that enough planets? No? Forget it, just ditch the rest. Golden Sun stars a young Venus Adept named Isaac. Or, well, technically I guess he could be whatever you named him at the start. Golden Sun stars a young Venus Adept named Arby's, and his friend Garrett, who's a Mars Adept. Arby's and Garrett live in Vale, a quiet mountainside town. The game begins with Arby's as a little 14-year-old baby during a horribly stormy night. While trying to get to safety, the boys notice their friend Jenna is having a family emergency, because her brother Felix is on the verge of drowning. Luckily, though, they get help just in time to... 3 years later, Arby's, Garrett, and Jenna are going to visit the local scholar, Creighton. Creighton convinces these impressionable teens that crime is cool, and they go sneak into their local holy temple, Sol Sanctum. After exploring Sol Sanctum for a bit, they find the elemental stars, jewels that hold the purest forms of the elements of the world. The group gets ambushed by some rapscallions, which includes Felix, who everyone thought was dead a couple years ago. They steal the elemental stars from Arby's, and then the whole place starts to blow up. Then a giant eyeball that's probably God tries to fix it, but it's too late. The seal has been opened. And that's why in Japan, this game is subtitled The Opened Seal. Alright, that's the gist of the plot. I'd like to switch gears and talk about how the game actually plays. So as Arby's... hold on a second. So, as Isaac, you'll be traveling the world to stop the bad people from lighting the elemental lighthouses. Because if that happens, then someone would get the power of alchemy and basically be omnipotent. And that's the goal. Golden Sun. And this is the type of game where you can talk to townspeople to get the haps. The type of game where you can check every little box and jar for hidden items. No. Yes! The type of game where you can just barge into any home and wonder why a family of 7 only has 1 bed. The type of game where you can browse through the newest armor and weapons to outfit your party with the latest and greatest. It's a dangerous world out there after all, full of random battles. Let's take a look at those. You've got your basics like attack, defend, flee, but we're interested in seeing what's unique to Golden Sun. For those who want to do some damage, you can use the elements to your advantage by ravishing your foes with Synergy, like earthquakes, lightning, volcanic eruptions, and getting them soggy. If you're more of a strategy person, there's Synergy you can use to mess with your stats. Strength, defense, resistance, all that good stuff. Oh, and you see these little tick marks on the side here? That's the range your attacks work on. So 1 tick mark will only hurt 1 target, and 3 marks will hurt 3 targets. Okay, what else do we have besides Synergy? Well, there's your little critter friends, the Jinn. Jinn are spirits of the elements that escaped when things went south back in Sol Sanctum, and have now scattered all over the world. You'll usually have to go off the beaten path to find them. Some will be gratified to be discovered and join you instantly. Others will want to test your skills in combat first. Jinn have multiple purposes in the game. When you have them set for battle, they're sort of like extra Synergy powers. Some will damage enemies, and some will buff or debuff stats. Once you've used a Jin, it's considered in standby, and it can be used for summons. The more Jin of an element you have on standby, the stronger the summon. After using a summon, Jin will need to recover a bit before being used again. And then they cycle back to set. If you know you've got a tough boss coming up, you can throw your Jin on standby from the menu to go all out with your summons right off the bat. Jin also changed your character class. Now, me personally, I've always liked keeping Jin of one element to the character best suited for it, but there is benefit to mixing and matching. Characters will gain synergy that they wouldn't have otherwise, and their stats might get a boost in an area they're weak in. Needless to say, if you're someone who pays attention to stats, there's some depth there for you. Phew, alright, let's move away from battles right now, okay? Golden Sun doesn't just let you use synergy when fighting, they can be useful on the overworld too. Statue blocking the path? All you have to do is move it. Leaves causing trouble? Whirlwind them away. Want to grab something off this tree? Use catch. Synergy used in the field will help you get around the world and find secrets. And one of the best ones has got to be Mind Read. Stick this to one of the shortcuts and you got yourself double the dialogue. Now you can see the innermost thoughts of the general public. A fun thing about the dungeons in Golden Sun is the interactivity they provide. You're not just going to be exploring caves and hallways. You'll be solving puzzles to get around, whether that's pushing logs, stepping on leaves, or the old-time classic, tile hopping. Wow, when did Mike Jones get here? If you use certain items in battle, they can break. Luckily, the shopkeepers in Golden Sun are able to repair them. Also, if you have an uncommon piece of equipment, this is considered an artifact. This is stuff that there's probably only one of in the game that you can't get anywhere else. Why let this bandit sword sit in your inventory if it's so weak, huh? You're better off not hoarding it and selling it for cash. But if you miss having unique equipment around, or you sold something off by accident, that's where buying artifacts comes in handy. The great healers found in most areas also provide some valuable services. For a small fee, you can bring your friends back from the dead. You can also magic away poison and other status elements. You might also run across powerful items that come with a terrible curse. Once equipped, they can't be unequipped, so you'll need to head to your local sanctum to get that undone. I can't forget to mention that our main hero Isaac is relatively silent for most of the game. His input is usually limited to responding to simple yes or no questions. The game will guide the dialogue to where it needs to go for the most part, but I can't deny it's fun to mess with people and just nope out of everything. Whether it's denying learning a new move, pretending not to know where I live, or just rejecting doing this whole quest in the first place. Golden Sun also has an arena option in the main menu. This is meant for a 2-player battle mode. Using only 3 party members, you and a buddy can have a friendly sparring match with Isaac versus Green Isaac. If you don't have anybody to play with, the arena isn't completely useless. You can also fight monsters from the game here. See how many fights in a row you can win before you call it quits. Golden Sun's graphics really stood out for being an early GBA title, with its semi-3D look and intense isometric battles. It's also a very emotional game. Maybe not in the sense that'll make you feel emotions, but boy, its characters sure do. Speech bubbles will pop over their heads to indicate how they're feeling, and if they really get into it, they'll start bouncing around. It's pretty charming. There's a lot to be seen in Golden Sun. From the dungeons to the towns, from the summons to the synergy. And I didn't even cover the gambling minigames or the hidden island. There's so much to see, in fact, that Camelot had to split the game into 2 parts. You see, Golden Sun ends on a cliffhanger right when things start getting more interesting. Shane, I'm back.
What do you want now?
I've learned how to use synergy.
I really don't care, Derek.
Let me show you. This one's called Move.
Great. Now I'm gonna have to clean that up.
Okay, well, if that didn't impress you, then watch this, because I can also mind read, too.
So you can read my mind. Big whoop. By the way, did you know that if we were all trees, there'd be no more wars?